What is up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today's reaction video is when did Britain and America stop hating each other? Interesting. A short animated documentary. I reacted to this a very long time ago. It is on my channel. We've never checked it out together. I actually genuinely can't remember what it's about. I may remember halfway through, but it's a short one. It's going to be your first time reaction, isn't it?
Yeah.
Probably my first time reaction because I genuinely can't remember. But we've got a few shout outs before we get into the video, haven't we?
Yes.
We've been plugging it a lot, haven't we? With the movie channel.
Yeah, that's out.
What we got on the movie
Well,
channel?
it's out. It's been out, but
Airplane's out. Tomorrow, episode 5 of Band of Brothers is going out as well.
Yeah.
And I need to work my bum off for Forrest Gump.
Yes.
Also, Patreon, Band of Brothers episode 7 is going on tonight on Patreon.
Because 5's going on the channel.
Yeah, 5 and 6 is already edited. Episode 7 is going on the Patreon tonight. So if you want to check out Patreon, honestly, it really, really helps us. We'd really appreciate it. I think that is everything, isn't it?
For now, I think, until we remember.
Until we remember. Smash that like button, guys. Smash the subscribe button. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Let's get into it. What have we got? When did America and Britain stop hating each other? What we got?
An understatement to say that Britain and the USA's relationship got off to a rocky start. In 1812, Britain and America were at war, but just over a century later they were fighting shoulder to shoulder in World War I, which obviously raises the question, when did Britain and America become allies? There had to be a point where both went from actively disliking each other to working alongside each other. Now, before continuing, it's important to note that even in the immediate aftermath of independence, America and Britain still had strong economic ties. This isn't to say that things were always great between the two, and there were some pretty major conflicts of interest in the years after the War of 1812 finished. The first, and perhaps the most obvious, was the Monroe Doctrine, established in 1823. This was where the United States, by threat of military intervention, declared an end to any new European colonial adventures in the Americas. And for Britain, this was potentially a problem because it had economic interests in South America. In reality, though, it wasn't too much of a problem at all, because in 1833 it landed a force on the Falkland Islands and America did nothing. In 1842, the US did warn Britain against interference in Hawaii, which Britain did heed because America's international power was certainly growing.
Yeah, it was
and it was
starting to
this
grow at
fact
that point.
that America was a rapidly growing great power whose interests could no longer be ignored, which would dominate Anglo-American relations for the following century. So the next major event which could have changed the Anglo-American dynamic was the American Civil War, which broke out in 1861. Britain had already abolished slavery at this point, and so you would think that it would have preferred the Union over the Confederacy. But you'd be wrong. Now, Britain had no great affection for the Confederacy in its slaveholding practices. Its preferential treatment was purely economic, mostly due to cotton imports. Britain did...
You're getting it. You're talking very fast.
He is going very fast. My mind is like...
did consider formally recognising the Confederacy, and Anglo-American relations were severely harmed by what's called the Trent Affair. This was where the US government seized a ship with Confederate diplomats headed for Britain, which to Britain looked like the USA telling it who it could and could not speak to. In the end, cooler heads prevailed and Britain didn't get involved, although it did construct a very powerful warship, the CSS Alabama, for the Confederacy. And after the Civil War was over, Britain paid compensation to the United States. Thus, only 50 years away from World War I, Britain and America still didn't really care much for each other. So what changed this? Well, relations actually started to improve during Britain's border dispute with Venezuela in 1895. This developed into somewhat of a crisis, and the US intervened and arbitrated, siding mostly with Britain. For Britain, America had conducted itself in a well-mannered fashion and given Britain most of what it had wanted. And for America, by accepting American arbitration, Britain had yielded its right to influence South America. The other reason for Anglo-American rapprochement was simple: converging interests. America had emerged from its Civil War a more centralised industrial power, and after its defeat of Spain in 1898, it possessed a global empire too. And for Britain, things were rapidly changing as well. Its empire and global position was being threatened by Russia and the newly formed Germany. Britain had long practiced a policy of isolationism with respect to the European powers, but since they too were industrialising, this had the potential to threaten Britain's position. Thus, her most natural ally seemed to be the United States.
You processing?
I feel like I just look confused the whole video, but I think it's more the fact that I'm just trying to listen.
Have you got it in though? Has it come in?
It's going in, but my face is not giving much because I'm trying to focus.
To be fair, I honestly can't remember any of this from when I did this video. It's like I'm listening to it for the first time.
I'm getting it. I'm just trying to focus on it.
I'm with you on that. I'm with you.
Since it was half a world away and had its own sphere of influence, plus they spoke the same language and shared many values. It was at the turn of the 20th century under President Theodore Roosevelt that America and Britain really started to become friends, particularly with respect to one foreign policy stance. They didn't like Germany. This agreement allowed
I suppose at that time it makes sense. Sorry to pause again, but the language thing must have been a massive thing.
Yeah.
Speaking the same language, when you got other countries popping up, speaking a different language. You then got a country which you've
You're
had
the
a
one you
past with.
communicate with.
You can communicate. It's simpler. Don't get me wrong. I imagine people in America at the time had people in high power who could speak another
Different
language.
languages.
But I think the language probably
Yeah.
helped as well, you know?
To move its fleet away from its Caribbean colonies back to Britain to defend itself from Germany, while security in the Caribbean would fall to the US. After the First World War broke out, Germany's actions, such as U-boat attacks on American shipping and the Zimmermann telegram, combined with the fact that if Britain and France lost the war, they wouldn't be able to pay their American loans back, assured US intervention on their side. And from that point onwards, both the US and UK were largely in the same camps, barring a couple of mishaps here and there. I hope you
Okay.
enjoyed this episode,
There
and
you
thank
go.
you for watching, with extra thanks to these patrons you can see on screen.
Shout out to our patrons, by the
Yeah.
way. Shout out to patrons. Very quick.
I feel like I've got it.
I've learned there's a lot of things in there. I think it's a build-up of things, isn't it?
I feel like it's all the things that we've learnt in the videos mashed up really quickly into 3 minutes.
Mashed up with a few extra things that obviously we didn't know. We don't know much about the Spanish War and stuff like that. Mashed up a little bit.
But I think I've got it. I might need to watch it again in my own time, just to actually...
Yeah.
Like, I feel like I've processed it, but now to actually be involved in it, I need to watch it again.
I think that was my mistake. I never rewatched it, and then it just kind of, because it goes in so fast, I think it just went out as quick.
Like, I feel like if I watched it again, it'd be like, yeah, I get it.
Pick up on some things. Oh yeah, I remember that now, and then it would stick and stuff. But definitely. Do you enjoy that though?
It was interesting.
Like I say, talks very quick. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. If you did, let us know in the comments. Let us know if there's anything like this you want us to react to in the future. And watch the video.
Have a fantastic day.
And we will see you legends in the next one. Peace.